Blood Meridian fans, we are talking today about the cover of Blood Meridian. And the cover features a 1933 oil painting by Salvador Dali called The Phantom Cart. And before I get into an analysis of all that, let's talk about Cormac McCarthy's involvement with his books. McCarthy was involved with his first 5 novels basically from A to Z in terms of the publication process. He would help obviously with the title, but also the description on the back, the cover he would have a say on, the copy editing, the font. There are letters of him arguing or just talking about all of that with his editors. For Blood Meridian, I never found those or saw those, but judging that he did that for his first 3 novels at a pretty deep level. When I was researching The Orchard Keeper, this came up yesterday. Him and his editor must have sent dozens of letters to each other, just arguing and trying to figure out the title, and then dozens of letters trying to work out the description on the back. And after Blood Meridian in 1992, he switched from Random House to Alfred Knopf, and I think there he lost a lot of his control, and that's also why they could help him blow up, because they marketed him in a drastically different way. Cormac McCarthy, as great as he is, probably shouldn't be doing the copy edits and advertisements for his own book. And so I'm going to make the Phantom Card over here, and we're going to do a little bit of art analysis. And for all the hardcore artists out there, tell me what I'm missing, what I got wrong here. But I'm going to connect this cover to the ideas within Blood Meridian. So obviously this, and Salvador Dali in general, not all of his paintings, but a lot of his paintings, including this one, are in the surrealist category. And even at a more meta layer than that, the Phantom Cart is using the paranoid critical method, which, if you don't know what that is, it's when the artist wants to invoke a paranoid state. And that can manifest in a couple different ways. You could be feeling manipulated by the artist. You could be feeling targeted. And Dali described this style as, quote, a spontaneous method of irrational knowledge based on the critical and systematic objectivity of the associations and interpretations of delirious phenomena. And so by inducing us into irrational thought or into this paranoid state, it can help us move into the unconscious and out of objectivity so that we can see the world in a new way. Once again, quoting Dali, he says, the subconscious has a symbolic language that is truly a universal language, for it speaks with the vocabulary of the great vital constants, sexual instinct, feelings of death, the physical notion of the enigma of space. These vital constants are universally echoed in every human. To understand an aesthetic picture, training in the appreciation is necessary, cultural and intellectual preparation. For surrealism, the only requisite is a receptive and intuitive human being. So now that we're looking at this painting, we have this cart on a plane, right? And it's a 2-wheeled wagon heading toward a city. And that's like a very classical cart. And the cart is blending in with the city, especially kind of the base of the cart, which could be said to have some surreal elements because the cart's basically blending in with the city, so it's becoming its own destination. And one of the big kind of elements of this is that I would say, from what I'm seeing here, is that those aren't wheels, those are rather stakes that have been driven into the ground, which really isn't productive for 2 men who are sitting on a wagon. And the people you see sitting on the wagon might be architecture from the city because they are just on level with the high wall. And so if anyone else has any other interpretations of this, let me know. But now let's kind of move on to this in Blood Meridian. So as I kind of said many times before, I think that Blood Meridian has a lot of surrealist and supernatural elements to it. When the kid moves across the border with Captain White, they move into a liminal space that they'll occupy for most of the rest of the novel. And there are hints of this throughout the novel, with the supernatural elements of Judge Holden, them referencing, there used to be 2 moons, some of the kind of random synchronized events that really don't have that much probability of happening. And also because they are going on a sort of paranoid critical trip. When I read that definition of what that method entails, all I could think of is that's what Judge Holden is doing. First of all, that's what the desert does in general. Being out there in extreme heat and out in the invisible landscape in a very shamanic area. It's the same area that inspired, for instance, like the whole Carlos Castaneda series, which isn't true, but nonetheless, he was studying the shamanic activities and philosophies of the area and turning it into a fictionalized nonfiction story or whatever. We also have the whole ending of Blood Meridian, which really, with the chase on the wagon after the Yuma scene and the chasing that is going on, also really reminds me of this scene. That's what I always thought it was a reference to, because it maybe looks like the idiot and the judge like on a cart or something. So I just thought it was interesting that Cormac decided to use this piece, or at least approve it. There could have been so many other choices, but they came to him, or he came to them and said, hey, we have a Salvador Dali piece we want to put in this novel of yours as the cover. And that's a very polarizing choice. I mean, and the cover also kind of falls flat. I mean, I really like it, but I think from a marketing standpoint, the all red and kind of the muted version of this painting maybe didn't blend well in terms of trying to market it the way they wanted to. They were maybe like, hey, we made 3 covers with the Orchard Keeper, or 4 covers. All the previous covers were not as bold in terms of imagery as this. Some of them were bold with their fonts and their colors, but you could say the Orchard Keeper was somewhat bold, but this is like, probably like, wow, like people will actually care. But that's assuming in 1985 that people knew Salvador Dali and the Phantom Car. I would say without the internet, a lot less people probably knew who he was, because you would have to study his paintings in a classroom or see them at a museum, which was much more popular back then. And so if you guys are interested in more Blood Meridian content, I'm running a Blood Meridian course, an Outer Dark course. I already finished an Orchard Keeper course and a Blood Meridian tour on my Cormac McCarthy course at cormacmccarthy.substack.com. I need to post my Blood Meridian tour videos because I have filmed about 5 or 6 of them. I just need to edit them up over the next couple days. I just keep forgetting, and get those posted. And I'm going to, I think in 2 weeks, be heading out to more locations in southwestern New Mexico and other areas that they were at, the Sand Island or the Sky Islands and a couple other places. So if I don't see you there, I will see you in the next video, and thanks for being here.